Well, hello, everyone. There I am. Hi, my name is Netta Follett. I'm the Executive Director of the Interfaith Center, and welcome. I have a few of you on Zoom, a few of us here. We are trying this hybrid model. There's Guy, our immediate past president, staring over Shaykh Sheikh's shoulder. Sheikh has told us a lot of people who might be zooming in from around the world, we are conflicting with the World Cup, unfortunately. So they'll watch the recording later. I think everything's conflicting with the World Cup or vice versa, depending how you feel about it. Anyway, Sheikh was a longtime board member. He's not on the board currently. He's a life member of the center. He is an Egyptian. He is a seeker of truth. When I introduced him last time, I had something written, but today I'm not that organized. So the information will come from himself in the course of the 3 presentations he's doing, and our immediate past president, Guy, will do a land acknowledgement. Thank you.
Thank you, Netta. And I'm pleased to recognize that we are indeed on Treaty 6 land, which was previously occupied by Indigenous people before the colonizers, the settlers came in. And in the late 1800s, the people that had occupied the land made an agreement with the Indigenous chiefs, and the representative that worked on that was the Governor General of Canada. And he made commitments to the Indigenous people to provide medicine and space for them to exist on their own, and farm equipment and money and education. And the government of Canada has largely reneged on many of those promises, and it's caused the Indigenous people of Canada to suffer greatly and be traumatized long-term. We're still dealing with that, trying to figure out some way to compensate or adjust for it or re-educate people to the realities of what's happened. And we're making progress. But it's still got a long ways to go. We've got a bill C-15 in the Parliament that's been passed, and that bill namely says that we're supposed to examine all the laws in Canada and change the ones that have any prejudice towards Indigenous people. And it's in the works right now. It's got another 2 years to go before they actually start the process of rewriting laws. So just acknowledge that we're on Treaty 6 land, and our ancestors have, and the people that came before us, have not held up to their promises of doing the things the Indigenous people need. And we took away their livelihoods, so we have an obligation to address that and compensate in some fashion. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce either Netta or Sheikh for this presentation. Thank you.
Sheikh.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this session. The topic that was chosen is, are we predestined, or do we actually have choices? And I wonder if this question has run across any mind of us or of you, because I know I have been struggling with that since I came to realization. And again, my journey has been so long, passing the 70 mark. And I'm still wrestling with these questions to try to understand basically where we come from and where we're going and what we're actually doing here. So, again, by raising hands, did this question come across your minds? Yeah, so it is legitimate to question. The thing is, where's the answer? The answer has to be within us, has to come from within us, and with the working minds. So let me just throw in a question. Yeah, we'll just have some guests walking in, so we'll give a chance. And again, here's Rick, Saint Laurent, and here is James. Hello, are joining us this time. They are close friends of mine. And then here, what I have to say, the most important thing is really having feedback of understanding what went on. So I'm just gonna put an analogy here. What do you think we represent? How can any of us individually make a mark on this whole world after we pass through? My envision in this is very simple. If the world was a large TV screen, where would we be represented in this large TV screen? I would say we would be, each individual of us would be a flash from a pixel of this screen. And then if you happen to flash again, probably that would be the reincarnation issue that we have been struggling with. So at least we have dealt with that reincarnation issue in this session. But from there on, the story of the world is told. And we individually and collectively are part of it. So what happens to us? What happened, what is happening, what will happen? This is a very, again, nagging question that we always ask ourselves. So let's see, at one point, you pop into this world. And as an infant, you have one very basic test when you come out to this world, to take a breath. If you can take that breath, aided or not, you move through. But if you cannot take that breath, guess what? You turn into recycling. You go under, you go back. From there on, somebody is looking after you. Whether it's a mother, a family, adopted mother, adopting family, whatever. But you are being cared for to get to the point of now you have choices. Now you demand things. Now you are actually wanted and needed, and you fulfill some needs for others. That's as a baby. You get into being a child. And it's not just the family. No, it is the whole society, which is said a village that can take care of the child to bring it out. You start realizing that every minute, life is a give and take. And you learn that by experience. And then you get into being a youth. You move into the defiant stage. You move into the demanding stage. You move into the ignorant stage. Wanting, but you demand. And then you go into adulthood. Now you are a productive member of the society you live in. And you work hard, or you manipulate the surroundings, however you manage your adulthood in the production line of human beings. From there on, you move into being a senior, which is basically you wise up. You try to surrender to the surroundings by realizing that you are really just a speck in this whole world. And you realize that you have to let things go. And then from there on, you move into being an elder, in which again, you need to be cared for more than anything else. In all these stages, you are dealing with the variation or the difference between what you need and what you want. And the need could be very minimal to survive, as much as taking a breath, having a bit of food, having some water, having a shelter. Later on in life, you might need a companion for life to go on. But what actually drives us is the want. And this is unsurmountable for some people. Some people want more and more and more, beyond anything that you can imagine or they can imagine, beyond the realization. But what limits that want is predestined. When people are limited into what they cannot achieve. And at this point, I would like to give an example of myself. How you plan to do things, and then your want is cut short. Your path has changed drastically, dramatically, and you have to rethink the whole point of existence. Guy, can we put the video now?
I'll give it a try.
You want Mackenzie?
Oh, I think it.
Not to have confidence in you guys. Mackenzie is here.
Is it?
You need to like color.
Oh, let's share and see.
I have earrings that go with it, but they're so heavy. Great. No, not a good look for a woman of a certain age. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not able to find it.
Okay,
Oh,
okay, are we gonna try or we can forget it?
Let's forget it. Or just tell me your experience.
All right, all right, this is the video of my accident, in which some of you have seen it in my previous presentation, where I we were planning a renovation in our house, a bit of an extension. And the contractor actually is Shaykh Sheikh that
oh,
has
oh.
joined us today. And when he came and we discussed the whole issue, we figured, or I figured, that were a few trees that are standing in the way of our vision of the renovation. So my wife has asked if she could have an arborist to do it. And I figured, no, I can do it. Now that's the macho man in every one of us. I took down 3 of the trees, the 4th we actually got. Where if you saw the video, that as I embarked on it, that was or transpired into a near-death experience where I fell down maybe about 3 stories high. And I went into, I thought it was an induced coma for 3.5 weeks. My wife said, no, you were alert, you were talking to people, you were just delirious. But my memory has shut down all the trauma in this experience. And this is and was a blessing that I have no recollection of the pain. Now, another 4.5 months in the hospital system, rehab, I came out mainly intact, but my experience left me with a very different outcome, because my mind was so sharp throughout the whole experience, except for the trauma memory. Now, when I saw the video, I told everybody, that's not what happened, that's not what I saw coming down. When I saw the video, I told everybody that what I saw, that I fell down, face down as a bat, thought that I was coming down into a field like a golf course or something. And as I am coming down, I saw 4 burial plots. The burial plots, at the time I didn't understand, but I could see there is my father there, my mother there, and I could sense the presence of my brother and my sister who all passed away over time and on different places. Now, the communication was my dad, although the fall itself took about 10-15 seconds. My communication was my father was very clear. I asked to have my brain intact. I asked that I will not go through this unless my brain is untouched. And when I woke up after all this experience, I found, yes, they have replaced my shoulder, right shoulder, they have operated on my leg, they have opened up my guts and repaired my ribs, cleaned up my guts, drained my lungs. It's just the whole thing was, I would imagine, traumatizing for those who worked on me. For me, I skipped the whole agony and stayed with the experience. It was a prayer with those who has passed before me that was answered. And as I left the hospital, I could not thank my blessings more, because I know I needed my family needed me. And those people who have looked after me throughout the whole thing, again, reminded me of our being, when you're an infant, your body needs things that are provided So this is my experience. And this I used as an example. I was hoping to show the video so we would cut the time short. To say where is the choice? And where is the predestined? Predestiny. And I am sure that if I go through my whole life span, I can bring a lot of experiences that is part planned, part predestined. And I'm sure every and each individual of us as human beings can relate to this, that you have a plan and it goes the wrong way. Anybody that has been in an accident, in a car, or in a plane, or the sea, or anywhere, can attest to the fact that you can have a plan and everything can go wrong. But what you end up is the most important thing. Acceptance of what has happened. Changing your life path. Is it to the better or to the worse? I'll tell you what, the answer is always to the better. So, having stated that much, where are the choice part and where is the predestined part? I think they are, if you can imagine the yin and yang symbol, you will see that you absolutely have choices, but it is all within the predestined overall component. I would say that you are predestined, but you have to have choices to go through your own path. You can't just lay back and say, come what may. Just say that. Say it up so it can be recorded. Just,
Pardon me?
just speak up so it can be recorded.
Oh, it's just come what may, you know, who knows what's gonna.
Yeah, Rick is just saying, come what may. It has to be the struggle that we are struggling on daily basis. Yes, every day, you know what you're doing. But in the overall picture, you are predestined. Now, each and every one have some sort of faith or none. What are we believing on? We think it's different. But at the core, it is the same thing. So I dug into the Quran and I tried to find out where can I find this particular issue addressed. And if you are interested to know the reference, it is chapter 57, which is titled Al-Hadid, the iron, and sub-chapter in Arabic is Surah, because it's a bit different than the English understanding. And it is in ayah 22 and 23. Ayah, everybody translates it as verse, but I beg to differ. Ayah is a signifier, part signature, part identify. And I have dug through the translations because the translations vary from one book to another slightly over time and over different cultures. But I'm gonna read it in Arabic and then I'm gonna translate it in English. Just because for the recording's sake. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ما أصاب من مصيبة في الأرض ولا في أنفسكم إلا في كتاب من قبل أن نبرأها إن ذلك على الله يسير. Translation. And this is again my translation, being professional translator and interpreter. Whatever happens on earth or to you, to yourselves, is pre-recorded, in brackets, documented in a book, before we cause it to happen. This is easy for Allah to do. 23. لكي لا تأسوا على ما فاتكم ولا تفرحوا بما أتاكم والله لا يحب كل مختال فخور. Translation. 23. Thus, you shouldn't grieve over for what you miss or lose, nor should you boast over what Allah bestowed upon you. Allah doesn't like those who are boastful, arrogant. So whatever you achieve in life, you should be comfortable with it. Whatever calamities, whatever achievement, whatever success, whatever loss, whatever anything, acceptance is the gift. And I'm sitting here with people from different faces, from different angles, and I would imagine they might agree that at the end of the day, when you put your head on the pillow to sleep, you should just take account of how your day went. If you did everything in your power to have a good day, you sleep well. If there's something that you have missed, well, tomorrow's another day. You wake up the next day and try again at life. And then there is another ayah that I would like to bring that has been really the motto of my understanding of the Muslim faith. And the ayah says, and I don't have the reference where exactly it is because it has been in my mind all the time. وَلَوْلَا دَفْعُ اللَّهِ النَّاسَ بَعْضَهُمْ بِبَعْضٍ لَفَسَدَتِ الْأَرْضُ. And if it wasn't for Allah pushing people against each other, earth would have gone corrupt. So what we see is the balance of how people go on a limb and then others stand up for. And you see that all the time throughout history, whether you live it through it or not. Everybody goes to the right, somebody else comes from the left to offset it. And however, like even science can attest to that, that for every action, there is a counter reaction that would balance. This is all is given to us in the scriptures, and I'm not saying the Quran only. I'm saying that the Quran is a trilogy of 3 different messages that humanity has received But even that, that's not the end of it. Communication between Allah, the creator, and the humanity has been across the time. And the messages are very simple. We complicate it. But the message itself is very basic, simple. Live, be good, and don't expect your life to be the end of it. Life is a continuum. Death is temporary. And I always try to equate that death is temporary with the way we sleep every night. We need that to keep going, but it's temporary. And death is as well. And then the references are there. It's just there is not enough time for it. So believing in a higher authority, believing in a creator, like at one point, I was talking to Neda, and she said, everyone has their own God. And that made me cringe. Because no, God is a very generic word. People write it in lowercase. People say, gosh, it's just, God has been, as a word, has been diluted to the point beyond realizing. But we can name Muhammad, we can name Jesus, we can name Moses, we can name people. And then when you go to those who are a bit more informed, I think Rilla has just joined us. Yeah, so that started with me. So that's predestined, or is it by choice? Definitely by his choice. But for me, it's just budget enterprise.
Maybe the games that, maybe when the games just ended.
It's just something that you really have to think about. You cannot go through this life without thinking of the issues. So what are we really are, individually and collectively? You have to consider science alongside faith. You have to consider what people write alongside the scriptures that we were given. You have to spend time on this. And again, that's why the Jews were given the Sabbath, just to contemplate. That's why Christians chose Sunday, to take a day a week to contemplate. That's why the Muslims were given the month of Ramadan, to fast and contemplate. You have to take the time to understand, or try to understand, where you're coming from and where you're going. But again, what are we? We are a very simple, basic production between the genes we inherit and the environment that we grow up in. And the reaction between these two produces us individually into each and every one of us is different, has a passage to go through. And again, if it is all a flash on the TV screen, you have to consider who is supplying the energy, the electricity to that TV screen. Who is telling the story of people, of humanity, of history, of creation. Just imagine. So, where are we? If you go to find out where you are on the time span, you will see that it is infinite life. You cannot trace the beginning of time or have a vision of the end of time. You cannot have a vision of the place we are. You can immediately find out where you are. But again, look at the span of the vast existence of what's around us. You will see that the space is, again, coming from infinite background going into infinite future. If any of us weighs maybe 100 pounds or 100 kilo or whatever, you put that on the matter that exists, and you will see that the matter that we know of, again, has infinite background and infinite forward possibilities. So where are we? We are literally in the middle of nowhere.
Mhm. Sure.
So where do we go from here? Tune in for next time.
Excellent. So,
Any comments,
oh yeah. Lots,
questions?
lots.
I mean, I can't promise answering any question the way you expect to have an answer, but it's a discussion.
Well, I'll jump in. So planned or predestined, you say that both there are the two aspects. I don't know.
They have to be.
Yes, they would have to be. Because anything else is unacceptable to our ego as
Yes.
humans, right?
Yes,
But if acceptance is the gift, is that in Islam, submission is a fundamental requirement.
to the existence of God.
Absolutely. So, but you're going beyond that. You're going way.
You have to understand that even within the the acceptance.
Mm.
You have to understand that you are accepting that you don't know enough or much. You have to accept what you're limited, your limitations,
Yeah.
to be able to move forward.
But, okay, thank you. And I'll just ask one more thing, because you and I have talked about this a few times over the months now. Your experience, your near-death experience, for lack of anything more precise, it confirmed what you already knew and believed, right?
It's not just that. It gave me the solid 4 months where people are looking after my body, but my mind was so sharp.
Yeah.
To watch what's happening, work it out, just understand and apply it to what I knew before, to confirm that this, I am in the right path.
Yeah.
Having said that, the Muslims' equivalent prayer to the Lord's Prayer in Christianity is Al-Fatiha, the opening of the Quran. That's what we use in every segment of the prayers. And then we add a bit more of what we memorize of the Quran. Al-Fatiha is 7 signifiers, 7 verses. There's one asking. Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. Guide us to the straight path. Throughout my whole life, I tried to understand what does that mean. When you are praying for Allah to guide you to the straight path. And I have recently come up to understand it as you're asking Allah to guide you for the right choice of whatever you're facing. And this is on, let's say, on daily basis. Like Muslims pray 5 times a day, 3 times a day, whatever, however. They repeat that prayers all the time, asking for to guide them to the right choice. So we definitely have choices, but we need help for that choice to jive in with predestined distance.
Thank you. That clarifies my thinking of it. Now, for questions, on the screen, if you put your hand up, it's really tiny, so don't hesitate. Just unmute yourselves and jump right in, or put your hand up and we'll try to see it.
Which means you can do it electronically
Yeah.
by pushing of a button, or you can raise your hand up and
Yeah, Seema, I think you have something to say, my dear.
Okay,
Yes.
sure. First of all, I would like to really thank so much to Mr. Sheikh. It's such a beautiful presentation about human spirit and our existence in this world and his life experience about the near-death experience that you suffered and you practically experienced. That was very, very uplifting. Thank you so much. And also the references you made to Holy Bible and to Holy Quran, that's absolutely true, is from God. And I also would like to share with you a bit of my life and my experience about the near-death experience. When I was 25 and in Africa, Nigeria, even north of Nigeria, near Chad and Cameroon, I was pregnant with my first child. And I couldn't go back home to Iran. I believe, of course, I should say I'm Baha'i and I believe in God. I believe in all religions, and so that time we went there for actually doing service to the people who were there. So I couldn't, for my delivery, I couldn't go anywhere. It was in Sahara and no good hospital there, 1981. But I had, after about 7 hours in pain, they had to do an emergency C-section there. And there was not a really good hospital. One doctor, no nurse, nobody, no even anesthesiologist. They only found just a technician to give me IV, no nurse, nothing. And she did all, her operation, everything to me, and after 37 hours of being in pain. So it took me maybe around 4 or 5 hours to become conscious. During that period, I was not in this world. I could see all the other words of God, soul is different with our body, can see and perceive many things. God showed me the universes is not only, we know that through science now that we don't have only this galaxy, the Milky Galaxy, we have many, many universes, galaxies. And my soul could see everything, the planets, the stars, everywhere. I could hear the music of nature. And I could see the human being formed as a fetus in the womb of mother. And then the one cell becomes, one zygote two becomes 4, and then goes, up like that, become a, beautifully formed in womb of mother and born in this world. I could see all this thing in everybody and the people walking on the planet, in the earth. It was so beautiful that we can, we be immersed in the ocean of God's mercy and his knowledge. It's different. After 4 or 5 hours, when I, became conscious, I say everybody is praying for me. So that at the age of 25, God showed me that we are not going to live in this and have a physical life only in this world. We have a spirit. We have to work for a soul to become perfect in order and pass from this world to the next. So, God protected me in that situation. It was not, at that age, a 25-year-old girl there and nobody around, only God. So God is the protector, and some of the things are predestined, some are not. And I like to share with you just a passage from the Baha'i writings about the free will, and I would stop after that, if you don't mind. Okay. He was the son of Baha'u'llah. Abdul Baha was in prison 1906 during that time, and Mrs. Laura Clifford Barney from state. She was visiting Abdul Baha in prison in Palestine. He was there. She asked this question: that is man a free agent in all his actions, or is he compelled and constrained? Then the answer Abdul Baha gave is this: that he said, some things are subject to the free will of man, such as justice, equity, tyranny, injustice. In other words, good and evil actions is in our hand. It is evident and clear that these actions are, for the most part, left to the will of man. But there are certain things to which man is forced and compelled, such as sleep, death, sickness, decline of power, injuries, and misfortunes. These are not subject to the will of man, and he is not responsible for them, for these things happen to us, for he is compelled to endure them, all those sufferings. We are compelled. But in the choice of good and bad actions, man is free, and he commits them according to his own will. For example, if he wishes, he can pass his time in praising God, or he can be occupied with other thoughts. He can be an enkindled light through the fire of the love of God, and a philanthropist loving the world, or he can be a hater of mankind and engrossed with material things. He can be just or cruel. These actions and these deeds are subject to the control of the will of man himself. Consequently, he is responsible for them. Now, other question arises. Man is absolutely helpless and dependent. Since might and power belong specifically to God, both explanations and both exaltation and humiliation depend upon the good pleasure and the will of the Most High God. It is said in the New Testament that God is like a potter who makes one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor. Now, the dishonored vessel has no right to find fault with the potter, saying, why didn't you make me a precious cup, which is passed from hand to hand? The meaning of this verse is that the states of beings are different. That which is in the lowest state of existence, like the mineral, has no right to complain, saying, oh God, why have you not given me the vegetable perfections? In the same way, the plant has no right to complain that it has been deprived of the perfections of the animal world. Also, it's not befitting for the animal to complain of the want of the human perfections. No, all these things are perfect in their own degree, and they must strive after the perfections of their own degree. The inferior beings, as we have said, have neither the right to nor the fitness for the states of the superior perfections. No, their progress must be in their own state. Also, the inaction or the movement of man depend upon the assistance of God. If he's not aided, he's not able to do either good or evil. But when the help of existence comes from the generous Lord, he's able to do both good and evil. But if the help is cut off, he remains absolutely helpless. This is why in the holy books they speak of the help and assistance of God. So this condition is like that of a sheep, which is moved by the power of the wind and stream. If this power ceases, the sheep cannot move at all. Nevertheless, the rudder of the sheep turns it to either side, and then the power of the stream moves it in the desired direction. If it is directed to the east, it goes to the east. If it's directed to the west, it goes to the west. This motion doesn't come from the sheep. No, it comes from the wind or the stream. In the same way, in all actions and inactions of man, he receives power from the help of God, but the choice of good and evil belongs to man himself.
Excuse me, I'd like to interrupt. We're just about out of time. We haven't
Oh,
heard.
sorry, thank you.
We
Okay,
haven't heard
that's
from our
finished.
table- we haven't heard from our table guests.
Thank you, Stephen. That was lovely. Thank you.
Welcome. Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
James, Rick, anything to add, ask? You're actually here. You should get precedence because you're here in the room. You made the effort to come.
I'm just trying to soak it all in. A lot of it's already part of my faith.
Yeah.
Which is what,
Well, I was raised as a Christian,
or any particular denomination?
originally a Roman Catholic,
Roman Catholic, yeah.
but it didn't take long as an adult to realize that that wasn't the path I wanted to take.
Yeah.
Because as a child, I was just forced to do it.
Yeah.
And as soon as we were old enough to not do it, nobody wanted to go with it. So I did start in an alliance church.
Hmm.
And, saw a different angle on faith and a different way things can be done. It was a kind of a watershed moment for me that I saw things different. I can thank my deceased wife for that, because she brought me to that opportunity, and I'm still on track.
Good,
Sorry for your
good,
loss.
yeah, I thought if I introduced Rick to the Interfaith Society, because I have been a member of the society since almost inception. And I think living in Canada is very important to be part of a universal way of thinking of faith. It's just sticking to what you grew up with, whether here or there or whatever. It's just, again, you should move on from being an infant into a child, into a.
I think more control of your destiny.
Yeah, because what we see now in all the generations, including even my children, that they just move away, they write off all this, they are throwing the baby with the baby with the water, with the wash water, because they just can't understand what's going on in the spiritual world, but they can definitely plug themselves into the electronic world, which is, I think we're going to talk about this in the sessions to come. So, any more comments?
Anyone else? James, anything?
Well, I think everyone smiled when you said we were in the middle of nowhere. I think that there's another possible interpretation, and that's that we're in the center of everywhere. And where the center of everywhere is, I believe, is a loving creator that has created us out of love and as an expression of love. That's where our comfort and our peace can be found. You know, we talk a lot about time, but if existence has no beginning and no end, then time itself is the illusion. So the thing that time offers us is cause and effect. But if time is an illusion, then cause and effect don't exist. So I believe that we are the timeless effect, the instantaneous effect of the love of God.
I just hope I said we are in where we are in nowhere in particular. So if you think that's the center of the universe, it's fine.
Yeah.
Anyone out there in Zoom land like to make
Yes, Yes, please.
Please. Who is that, Patricia?
No, this is,
sorry.
this is Hamdi Zafali. He's joining us from London, England.
Thank you. Please, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. This is an everlasting question, and I believe it will never be answered in full. To illustrate my point, I would like to refer to an English novelist called Thomas Hardy. He wrote a novel entitled The Mayor of Casterbridge. Because he is a fatalist, he, all through the novel, it was fate that controls life of human beings. And from the beginning of the novel until the end, we see Michael Henshard, the main character of the novel, is a slave of circumstance. He has no will at all. His life from A to Z is controlled by fate. Let me go to William Shakespeare and refer to Hamlet. Now, this character all through the drama has been asking himself as if he has a free will to control his own life, to be or not to be. He concluded it by his own choice. So I tend to be in between with Seema and give an example of a human body who is free to eat what he wants, but he is not controlling his digestive system. It works separately outside his own will. In general, I tend to believe that we are more predestined than having a free will, but there is a small space of the human will. And this space is really belonging to mental and idealistic things like choosing your faith, believing or being unbelievable, things like that is under our own choice. Otherwise, life will be meaningless. As a whole, why are we there? If we are puppets controlled from A to Z, why are we there? It could be done without us. This is my own point of view. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It just could be done without us? No.
How?
Because it just, you hear about that we are living in a universe that's ever expanding. Right? You hear about that. That the universe we're living in is ever expanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are part of that. We are start with one embryo, grew up to be adults. This is part of expanding the universe.
Well, good. Okay. I believe that God have sent prophets and messengers to shed lights on certain things because we have limited understanding. At the end of the day, after doing their job, the choice is left to us. They show us what is right and what's wrong, what is right and what's left, and we are given the choice. Referring to a verse from the Quran, فَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيُؤْمِنْ وَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيَكْفُرْ. This is
Translation.
an open invitation for the human being.
Hamdi, I have to translate what you said so people can understand.
Okay.
Whoever wishes to believe, it's his business. Well, whoever wishes to disbelieve or deny, that's his business.
It's an invitation for a free will. It's a clear invitation for a choice coming from God. You decide what you want, not me. So there are certain circumstances where the human being is really responsible for his own action because it's his own choice. In general, as I said, the major part of our life is predestined, but a human brain is there to think and to choose. This is what I believe in. Thank you.
Thanks, Hani.
Thank you. Anyone else? Patricia? Patricia, did you want to jump in? Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
I just have a question. That's Surah and ayah you read from the Holy Quran. Was it from the Surah of Miraj, Isra? But
But the
Is there-
ayat that we read from Surah Al-Hadid, 57.
because we had this Holy Quran, we have wanted to study on Holy Quran. And
Yeah,
I believe we had it for Surah of Miraj. I'm not too sure. That's why I ask you. Should be
Surah
Miraj,
Al-Faraj, 74.
Miraj 17, Surah 17. It's okay. I'll find it if you can.
Just a second, because it's just the others has to understand. Surah 17 is about Al-Isra,
Yes,
which you always compare it with the Mi'raj. like
Miraj.
Mi'raj. But the surah for particular, Al-Ma'arij, which is the plural of Mi'raj, is number 74.
70. Yeah, 74. Yes, thank you.
Thank you all. We don't have to stop now, but some people may have to go. I want to thank Sheikh formally for this, and with a 2023 multi-faith calendar, which is the gift we give to our speakers. It is for sale here for $16. If anybody's interested in one, any of our newcomers here, and thank you. We'll let everyone know when this is put on our website. But please continue the discussion as long as people are able and willing. Thank you. Thank you all for coming.
And if there's nothing more to add at this point, well, I will inshallah be here next month with under different topic, but mainly within the same umbrella of thinking. So we can really close session at this point.